What's good, ladies and gents? Welcome to the MKO Pugilism Boxing channel, where we talk all things boxing. Remember to, of course, like, subscribe, hit the bell notification, put it on all so you get notified of all the latest content on the channel. So without further ado, let's get into it. So this weekend just gone, we had, of course, the heavyweight title fight for the WBC Ring Magazine Lineal Championship of the World, Heavyweight Championship of the World, between Tyson the Gypsy King Fury and Deontay the Bronze Bomber Wilder. So this fight was one that I want to say in some ways kind of surprised me, because it turned out to be quite a classic fight. It turned out to be a fight with lots of drama. We had, as it opened up, the opening round and that, Tyson Fury looked, I want to say, not as sharp as he has looked in the past. He didn't look, in my opinion at least, as sharp as he was in the second fight. He didn't look as switched on as he was there. He was still okay. He still boxed all right, but I felt in the open round, round one, Wilder made quite a positive start. He was utilizing a jab to the body, which is something that I sort of talked about in the build up to the fight, around the weigh-in. You know, tactically, I thought that, yeah, employ that jab to the body. That's something that you want to do if you're Deontay Wilder. You want to work the body of Fury, try to slow him down, try to put water in the basement, as Teddy Atlas likes to say, you know, try and hurt him to the body and then bring the shots up. So he was doing that a lot during the first couple of rounds. Tyson Fury, you know, both men were a little bit sloppy. Fury was doing his thing, boxed quite all right. Nothing too special first couple of rounds. This fight also had a few knockdowns there where, you know, Tyson Fury began to get a bit on top of Deontay Wilder in the early part of this fight. You know, began to using the good leaning tactics where, you know, he'd get on the inside with Wilder, lean his head on him, and you know, used his weight very effectively in this fight. Deontay Wilder, however, although it looked like, you know, the fight was sort of getting away from him, especially sort of mid-rounds, Wilder did manage to actually floor Tyson Fury a couple of times in this fight. He scored 2 knockdowns in the fight, which was, yeah, that was impressive by him, because, to be honest with you, he looked to be the man that was sort of losing the fight. He looked to be the man that had catching up to do, because, you know, as much as I can say that he sort of improved and you know, he at least, you know, was sort of live in this fight, he was always sort of looking a bit awkward. The way he was throwing the jab was a bit of at a funny angle, and, you know, Fury began to sort of outbox him as the rounds progressed, but Deontay Wilder managed to sort of put Fury down, hurt him quite badly in those early rounds. I think it was either round 3 or round 4. He was, you know, in my eyes, he was sort of losing the fight, but he, you know, he come back, you know, put Fury down a couple of times, and you could see Fury was hurt. But the good thing with Fury is that he's got these fantastic powers of recovery, and he really did have to use those powers of recovery to the fullest in this fight, because, you know, he went down twice, but the good thing about him is that you could see in his eyes and everything that, yeah, I'm down, but I can still see you. He still had his mind with him. He wasn't completely gone. You could see the legs were a bit wobbly, shaky, and, you know, it's definitely hurt, but you could also see that his eyes were there. He was still in the fight, still focused. And, you know, Fury was able to, you know, put Wilder down. It was a thriller in that sense that, you know, Fury, although he got put down, you know, he was able to come back, put Wilder down, and was a good knockdown that Fury scored. But again, Wilder just showed this incredible toughness. I think both men did, but especially Wilder, because he was sort of, you could see he was sort of losing the fight. He looked a bit awkward and stuff, but yeah, he come up off his feet. But you know, as did Fury. Fury puts Wilder down. That was impressive that he was able to, you know, put Wilder down. Wilder looked hurt, a little bit out of it, rises up to his feet again, and it was one of these fights where it was a little bit back and forth. But I'd say for the most part, you could say that Fury was in charge. Fury was sort of running things in this fight. But with Wilder, because he had that power and you saw the two knockdowns come, it was, you always sort of thought, well, you know, I was thinking throughout, Wilder sort of got a chance here. And, you know, he was always there ready to cock that right hand. But as we sort of got past the mid-round, sort of 6-7, we could tell that, well, you know, these are the championship rounds coming up, and you know, Wilder was looking sort of more and more fatigued. I think you know, he was very brave, but you could tell from quite early in the fight, around 3 or 4, that yeah, he scored the knockdown, but he was breathing heavily through his mouth. Whereas Fury, you could tell he had a bit more fuel, a bit more to go, and you know, Fury began to sort of take over 6, 7, 8. You know, he began to take over the fight late on. And Wilder, you know, there were several times where I think Fury himself must have been a bit tired, because there were certain opportunities around those mid to late rounds where you saw Wilder get hurt and wobbled, and then Fury wouldn't go after him to go in for the kill and finish him. He'd sort of step back and let Wilder breathe a bit. And yeah, that was sort of the pattern of it. It was a little bit back and forth in the beginning. Wilder starts positively, Fury then begins to take over. And as we get into those championship rounds, sort of, I would say 7, 8, 9, 10, those rounds, they were all Tyson Fury. Tyson Fury had Wilder all over the place. And it was just, as my guy Kevin was saying, you know, it was like the ghost of Wilder was just keeping him up. It was like his spirit, his heart, his determination was all there was left, because his body was all over the place. You could see his body was utterly defeated, but he just had that heart of a soldier, that heart of a warrior that just wouldn't say die and just wouldn't quit. So, you know, and you knew, or I personally think I knew, that Malik Scott was never going to throw the towel in, you know, because of what happened last time and Wilder complaining. So he was never going to throw the towel in. So it was one of these fights where in the end Wilder succumbs in the 11th round. He's losing, you know, everything for me personally, from sort of the mid round, like 6, 7, going up till it finishes in 11. He's pretty much lost everything. He only had his heart there, and you know, it was just sheer exhaustion and that power of Tyson Fury put together that put him away. And, you know, to his credit, Wilder went out on his shield in the 11th round. You know, Tyson Fury, credit to him, brilliant engine. He still had energy in those last rounds. And Wilder, you know, just completely out of it, just fighting on fumes, fighting on instinct. And Fury lands a beautiful right hand, and Wilder just flies into the ropes and falls on the floor. The referee doesn't even bother to count, and that's it. It's all over in the 11th round. So yeah, to both men, I do take my hat off to both of them, because you know what, Wilder's he did lose. He lost to a man that's clearly, throughout this fight, you could see Fury was by far the more skillful boxer, the better technician and everything. So, you know, Fury was the superior man. And yeah, he puts an end to this whole thing between him and Deontay Wilder. It was a bit sad at the end that Wilder didn't want to show good sportsmanship, shake his hand or anything, or, you know, embrace or whatnot. That was a bit of a shame, but it is what it is. You know, he has his own mindset. He thinks in his particular way. So yeah, the good fight, great fight for by both guys. And yeah, that's my thoughts on it. Fury, a deserving winner. And yeah, let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. What do you think might be next for both guys? And until next time, this is MKO Pugilism. We over and out. Catch you on the next one.